Should you forgive the narcissist? If so, how do you forgive a narcissist or narcissists in your life? Okay, welcome to another diary entry of my online public journal for all to see, my YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about the narcissist and how to forgive them and why I did this. Because if you're asking me, should you forgive a narcissist? I don't know. I don't know what you should do. I'm not here to tell you that. But if you would like to, here's how I did it and here's why I did it. Because for me, it actually did make a difference in my life for the better. My channel is about my experiences, what worked for me, and I hope that it works for you. I hope that it brings you some peace if you're still dealing with this, because this is very difficult, at least it was for me. And if you would like to, here's how to forgive a narcissist, or at least how I did it in my journey, what's been working for me. Again, disclaimer, I'm no medical expert. I'm certainly not suggesting that you actually directly tell the narcissist some corny shit like, I forgive you. You don't even need to have a conversation with them ever again in your life if you don't want to. It's really more about you and how you feel in your heart that you forgave them. So at least for me, forgiving the narcissist was helpful, because now when I remember them or what they did to me, or if I see them and run into them again, which happens a lot, it doesn't hurt me and it doesn't trigger me like it used to. Because number one, I have boundaries, okay? Let's start with that. Very cool, very amazing tool that I learned in therapy, highly recommend. Therapy and boundaries. Two, I just look at them as like lost children. And before I used to look at them as like evil, like witches, or not witches because witches are cool, but like, you know what I mean, like the bad guy, right? Now I'm just, forgiveness really helped me achieve that. I had a hard time with this at first because I'm just gonna say it. I'm not a very forgiving person. Just to recap, some of the things that narcissists have done to me, and I'm talking about plural, like not any specific person, they've said that my depression is not real, that I'm just sad because I don't have a positive enough attitude, and I just need to mature. I just need to grow up and grow out of it. Okay. They've tried to steal my boyfriend. They've tried to control my life and not let me explore my hobbies and interests or my social life because they wanted to control me. They've emotionally abused me and put me down by insulting me, saying things like, you're gonna be a failure in life. Sorry, I just put on lipstick. Anyways, so like I was saying, they've betrayed me, disrespected my boundaries, and if you want to see a whole video on how I got my identity stolen, or somebody tried to steal my identity or copycat everything I was doing, watch my video on narcissistic identity theft, or narcissistic copycat, narcissistic imitation, copycat friends. That's all part of the title. It's right on my channel. But anyways, when I think about all those things now that were kind of traumatic at the time, actually pretty some of them were pretty traumatic at the time, they don't hurt me as much anymore. I mean, yeah, there's still days where it hurts, it sucks, I'm still sad about it. For the most part, I feel like I can work through it and still get through my day without getting stuck in that feeling. And so I'm pretty sure on some level I must have forgiven the narcissist or forgiven what they've done to me, because the memory of the incidents just doesn't hurt me or make me angry as much as it used to. And mind you, I still have to see a lot of these narcissists in my life, and when I see them, it doesn't trigger me as much as it used to, and that's power. Still triggering sometimes though, like I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, I do feel like the way that I've gotten over a lot of these triggers and a lot of the hurt has been through forgiveness. And I don't know if this is good or bad or like what or help, like, but this is how I dealt with it, and it's been healthy for me. Here's how I did it, and it's a little bit weird, so just go with me for a second. I came to feel somewhat, a little kind of sorry for the narcissist. In a way, okay? Not really, not sorry to the point where I feel guilty and I have to go back and have to try it again, because boy, have I done that. I just mean like, I came to feel compassion for the narcissist, sympathy, empathy, that kind of vibe, because I feel like they never had in their life the emotional support that they needed. Not even from their own parents, sometimes. Like, they were taught from an early age that there's a weak and there's a strong, and there's ways to get what you want by manipulating things out of others or from others, like taking it from others, and not simply by asking or being direct and honest about it. They were made to feel so bad about their own needs and their own emotional needs, especially, that it's like they were like ashamed for wanting attention from early on, like ashamed for wanting intimacy or a hug, like, or just anything. You know, if you talk to them about their parents or their childhood or their traumas, it's awful, guys. Like, it's awful. It's really that I've come to an understanding of seeing how they function and how this is the way that they learn to live and deal with life for the rest of their lives. Like, they are subjected to acting and reacting a certain way from their own trauma, the way that all of us are, right? But it's just that their self-defense mechanisms hurt me. It hurt me in the past. I start there. I start with some understanding. Now, I know these examples are going to get repetitive, so please bear with me, because some of the examples might resonate with some of you, but not others. So I want to get as much out there to help the most people I can. And my examples are pretty anecdotal from the narcissists that I've dealt with and continue to have, like, behind the scenes insight on their lives and who they became. And don't ask me how, but I can tell you that a lot of them, for a lot of them, this is the case where they can't be who they really are, or, you know, directly ask for their emotional needs to be met, not even with their own partner, like the most intimate, closest person will ever have, in theory. The reality is that they have to put up this fantasy constantly to be around them. And in this way, I think that they think they remain lovable to their partner, and that's sad because it sounds exhausting. Like, can you imagine having to pretend for the rest of your life and never truly expressing who you are or what you need to anyone? That's why I can't think of narcissists anymore as bad or evil, as if life were just good versus evil, because it's never as simple as that, is it? And I don't know exactly what trauma they went through or how horrible it must have felt for them to have become this thing. And I do know that I don't enjoy being around them, but this happens to me with lots of people, all kinds of people actually. For the most random things, like when people are fake, when people are super picky eaters, I can't take them anywhere, when people don't use deodorant. It's just a preference. And I say preference, by the way, because a lot of people do enjoy being around them. I don't get it. It's not for me. I remove myself from those people because I'd rather have that empty space for my own peace and well-being. It's just too triggering for me to be around any kind of narcissist. If you want to know how to let go of those people in your life, if you're having trouble with that, I am going to make a video about that, I believe, at some point. So if you want to stick around, subscribe. Anyways, forgiveness is a huge part of that, let me say. Forgiveness came to me when I thought about how much I had to forgive myself for the mistakes I've made and the people I hurt. Because as much as narcissists were using their defense mechanisms and their trauma on the world, I was too, and I had a ton of issues. And, you know, I've let people see me at my worst. And that's because I have been my worst. I've been jealous, overbearing, insulting, God, you name it, until I learned to deal with my feelings and work on myself and my issues. I had people abandon me, and I had people who stayed. It was the most beautiful thing, honestly, that I've seen in my life, to see how far I've come, to read like old communications or things that I've sent, and to see that I would never speak that way or act that way or make those decisions now. Now I look at the person that I was and I think I just had a lot of emotions and mental health issues that I hadn't worked on yet. So really learning to forgive myself and understanding that I acted according to the best way that I knew how to deal with life and people at the time was really eye-opening, because it let me understand that other people are just doing the same thing. Narcissists, sadly, are just doing the best they can. You know, their actions hurt me a lot. But I don't ruminate like I used to. I used to think, how could a person be this awful to me? Oh, poor me. And what's worse, I used to be so angry at myself, because I used to think, how could I let this happen to me again? Because I was so angry for letting people use me or being fooled by them. And it just kept happening to me, whether it was the same person that I had given many chances to or different people. For example, when I let people insult me for like having mental health issues like depression, when those people had no idea what it felt like or what I was going through, and they weren't a qualified professional to tell me anything about it. Why did I let that hurt me? Now, instead of thinking of the bad things that I went through and getting angrier, by forgiving them and thinking, you know, the narcissists were hurting me out of their own limited views on the world, and they have huge mental health issues too. I mean, they do. Look how the DSM-5 defines narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD. And the DSM-5 is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which is the official handbook used by mental health professionals in the United States who diagnose mental health conditions. And I will be citing all of these sources below, so don't worry about where I got this. You know, you can read those below. I definitely don't claim to know all this off the top of my head. According to a Medscape article by Amber, again, hope I said that right, NPD, right, narcissistic personality disorder, is a cluster B personality disorder defined as comprising a pervasive pattern of grandiosity in fantasy or behavior, a constant need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. Some of the symptoms include a need for excessive admiration, interpersonally exploitative behavior, like manipulation, envy of others, or a belief that others are envious of him or her, and a demonstration of arrogant and haughty behaviors or attitudes. And that's just some of the symptoms. So does that sound like someone you want to be? Not me. It sounds exhausting, number one, to live that way, like constantly having to prove yourself, constantly having to be admired, or finding that supply, right? That's exhausting. That's too much effort. I don't. Like, I just can't. You know, to be preoccupied with that kind of stuff all the time, like, your mind isn't really thinking of what you want to do, what's your happiness. You're just focused on all of these other things. So now that you understand a little bit of that NPD, and that it is a disorder that makes people act a certain way towards everyone, not just you, I mean, that's why it feels less personal, less targeted. It takes away some of the anger and the need to retaliate, if you have one, because it was never a personal attack. It's really just who they are. It's really just who they are. And because I still have to deal with narcissists and see them sometimes, I have to find a way to be around them and live with them. There's something really healing too when you can learn to coexist with someone so different from you. Plus, I have the good luck or gift that I can grow and self-reflect from things, whereas narcissists have a personality disorder that quite literally prevents them from doing that, as far as I understand it. I mean, part of the disorder is thinking they can do no wrong, right? And also, why would you work on yourself if you already think you're the best? That's why in 10 years, like, I'll talk to these narcissists and keep up with them, and it feels like I'm still talking to the same person. I always think, wow, you haven't changed at all. Like, at all. Whereas I feel like a completely different person year after year. And I see proof of this in the way that I interact with people now, the way people react to me. I hope that this video gives you some peace. I hope this video helps you find forgiveness, if not for others, like for yourself, really. I mean, it's for yourself. And have better distance, better self-care, and overall better mental health and better life. This video is definitely not so that you go back there and go and try to have the narcissist in your life again and like forgive them in the sense that you are gonna have no boundaries and let them back in all over again. By no means is that what this video is about, okay? It's about forgiveness for them, for yourself, that you don't even have to tell them. I still recommend having boundaries. I still have boundaries and it's worked great. So please, please, above everything, just take care of yourself.
Oh my God, was the white light better this whole time?